Does that offend you?
No, it doesn't. But back to the question, I was wondering. You know, Jews have been very well. When I'm saying Jews, I mean like when we're talking about like mainstream America, what people call Jews.
Just say Edomite Jews. Say
Okay,
that.
I'll say that for the interest of simplicity. Edomite Jews. You look at like the Holocaust or people being, uprooted, pogroms. It does seem that they have also been oppressed. Have you? What do you?
Here it is. Yeah. Give me Daniel chapter 9. About under the whole earth. You know what I want?
Yes.
Now, you said the Holocaust.
Mm-hmm.
6 million Jews
People
would die, right?
Yeah, not just Jews.
Horrible, right?
Yeah.
Terrible. How many blacks died during the slave trade?
Oh, several million.
7 million.
Maybe hundreds.
Yes.
Hundreds.
100 million. Now, let me ask you a question.
But does that necessarily mean that it's okay that the Holocaust was nothing compared
No,
to slavery?
I'm going to explain it.
Okay.
Let's look at blacks, just some blacks that came over on ships, over 100 million killed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Native American Indians, 77 million.
Mm-hmm.
Central and South America, 200 million. What numbers, can you compare those numbers with 6 million?
Those are over centuries, but yeah, I mean, 6 million is less than 77 million.
Is it a little bit less or substantially less?
Substantially.
Okay, now, get that ASAP. Watch this. Daniel 9.
Daniel chapter 9, verse 12, concerning the captivity of the Israelites. And he hath confirmed his words which he spake against us, and against our judges, and against the judges by bringing upon a great evil. For under the whole heaven hath not been done as had been done upon Jerusalem.
So you can't, God is saying you cannot compare what happened to our people to any race on earth. We went through the worst. Mm-hmm. Because during the so-called the Holocaust, was their nationality changed? No. Don't even got to think about it. No. But our nationalities, which our families were divided, and not just for 5 years. You're talking about World War II. Mm-hmm. We're talking about from 1492 all the way up until, let's say, 1965, the Civil Rights Movement. This is going on forever.
But do you feel that maybe that you could identify and have sympathy for Jewish people? Or Edomite Jews, as you call them?
Their sympathy, we have to have sympathy for your race first. What we've been taught in America is to have sympathy for everybody else but ourselves. Mm-hmm. Like, I went to school here, he went to school here. Our kids, we are sent on tours for they send us the movies, our kids the movies about the Jewish Holocaust. Mm-hmm. There's always movies to remind us about the atrocities of 1945, World War II. But how many things do we go through to learn about our history?
There's African American History Month, there's...
Okay, what do we learn? What do you learn?
Well,
do you learn that they're the Israelites?
No, you definitely
don't.
Definitely.
So
yeah,
it's lying.
Not saying people know about it.
So it's a lie. They're reinforcing lies
That's
to
right.
us. Mm-hmm. It's indoctrination. It is a conspiracy. So we have to, that's our teaching, we have to go against that. Mm-hmm. And if people are about the truth, they're going to obey this. But racists will fight against us at all terms. They'll fight against this Bible. Because if the so-called white man that says he's Jewish, if he really believes in the Bible, well, remember what we read about in Deuteronomy 28:16? What would happen to the real Jews? They would be...
The real Jews would have their land taken from them. They'd be enslaved.
On slave ships.
Yeah, on slave ships. Yeah. And you guys were on slave ships.
That's right.
The other Jews weren't.
That's right. So if they read this Torah every week, you never read this? They've read this.
So
what do you think about that? They reject that. They go, no. Ani Yehudi. Ani Yehudi. That's what they say. So, do they love us?
No, they must not.
I'm glad you can admit that. I'm very glad.
So, how do you guys... how do I put this? There's a white supremacist who has said that the Israelite movement is the black counterpart to the Ku Klux Klan.
Not at all.
How do you tell me how you would make the comparison?
I'm not making the comparison.
I'm saying because it'll be easy to argue with the Bible. Mm-hmm. Because what are the Israelites doing the same as the Ku Klux Klan is doing. That's where we would have to
You
make
guys
the comparison.
definitely seem different. You guys are peaceful. If we're talking about similarities, you do believe in racial separation.
Okay, so have we ever burned a cross on anyone's lawn?
No, and I'm not
Have we
saying that's
lynched
my-
anyone? That's what they're doing.
Yes.
What was the black man that was dragged by the car in Atlanta? Huh?
James Bird.
James Bird.
They put him on the back of a car, dragged him till his flesh came. We have never, nor will we ever do anything like that. So there's no comparison
Right.
between us and the Ku Klux Klan at all.
Right. And we're not preaching hate towards anybody. We're not saying we hate anyone. You never hear that in our ministries. They openly say and call for the extermination of the black race. They openly say they hate us. Okay? In open, they fight for the right to voice their opinion of their hatred and their disdain for us. We don't do that.
Do you see though that maybe saying that Christ will come back and you guys, the true Israelites, will reign over people could be construed?
Well,
as-
understand, when Christ returns, he's going to restore order to the earth. The earth is out of order now. Okay? Because the powers that be took it by blood, violence, and force. But when Christ returns, he's going to restore order here. There's going to be peace on the land. That's why it says there'll be no more fighting. They shall beat their swords
Isaiah
into pruning.
I'm going to read it, Isaiah 2:2. And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established in the top of the mountains and shall be exalted above the hills, meaning we're going to be the greatest government. And all nations shall flow unto it. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord's house, to the house of the God of Jacob. And he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. Watch this. And he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore.
That's one of my favorite verses.
So
actually.
by-
I don't know much about the Bible. But I love
So
it.
you know that. So what is that? I'm going to explain that. Once we are reestablished as the 12 tribes of Israel, there will be peace on earth.
But I didn't hear anything there about like one nation ruling over another. It says nations shall not fight each other.
Okay, we did read it. You just missed it. Where it said the Lord shall go forth out of where? Asa, what did it say?
What's Isaiah 2?
Yeah, 2:2, I think. It says
Isaiah
the
2,
Lord shall go
verse 2.
forth out of...
And it shall come to pass in the last days that the mountains, the word mountains is synonymous to governments in the Bible, that the mountains of the Lord's house shall be established. That's the
So
one
that's
nation.
what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
You understand what we're doing now as we're returning as Israelites. The Lord is setting up new leaders over the earth. They're going to do it in righteousness. Okay? But before we can be put in position of leadership, we have to know the atrocities that were done. We have to know the wrongs against man. That's why we teach each other as a nation to love our brothers, to show respect, to be a good husband, to teach the women how to be good wives. Because to be these great leaders that the Bible is instructing us to be, that's going to spread throughout all the earth.
Okay. So
Now, it said also, for out of Zion shall go forth the Lord. Zion is another name for Israel. So that's where it said we're going to rule. Remember we read about 10 minutes ago, Isaiah 14. What did it say? Do you remember?
I don't remember all the numbers.
I get it.
That's why I record this stuff.
Okay.
I'll get it.
Again, read it again.
For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors.
So that's what's going to happen. That's the prophecy. And it's going to be peace on earth. And when it says we shall possess the nations, don't think we're going to do, we're not going to sodomize you or the things that the atrocities that whites did to us.
Do scientific
Right.
experiments
We're not
on
gonna do
you,
experiments
chop
on
your
you.
babies up,
We're not doing
okay? Smash your babies on the wall. We have documented evidence of these things. Feed your babies to alligators and call it gator bait, okay? These are the things that we had to learn because this is what the Bible is for. God is going to set up a government on this earth to rule. So he's calling men into righteousness. That's why we have to conduct ourselves and walk and talk and speak in a certain manner before God can say it is time.
So yeah, I just have like, thank you. You just sort of distilled a lot of what we talked about this whole time.
Yes.
I guess my last question, and maybe we could take some portraits, is well, first off, who are you and hello?
Oh, remember before when you spoke to Malachi, you was explaining that we always like to have our own recording of our
okay,
meetings,
all right.
just in case.
Yeah.
If we're portrayed in a bad light, we could say, no, this is what we said at the meeting. We throw it on YouTube. YouTube is our judge and jury. When people see us speak there, what we try to do is people twist our words a lot. People will sit here peacefully. Peter Rue from Vice Magazine. People sit here peacefully and listen like you're listening. And when they get back, they write terrible things.
So here's my last question. Do you have any spiritual advice for someone who is, a white guy who's, unconsciously maybe controlled by Satan? Like, what should I do?
You should support this truth. You should get us on as many venues as you can. You and your counterparts to try to help get this truth out.
Is there a way for me to find salvation?
You're going to be in the kingdom.
Yes.
You are going to be in the kingdom with us, according to Isaiah 14.
Okay, good. Well, I better write a good article about you guys, or I'm
Just the
going to
truth. Just the truth.
Just write the truth.
Just write the truth. That's it.
Let me read something to you, Peter. I want, and you tell me, who does this signify? You had mentioned economics before, right? About people working and things of that nature. Hey, so give me Jeremiah 22:13. Watch this. This is what happened. This is what a king of Israel did. However, it is what society has done as a whole to us. You got it, Asa?
Jeremiah chapter 22, verse 13. Woe unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness,
Woe to him that builds his house by unrighteousness. Go ahead.
and his chambers by wrong, that uses his neighbor's service without wages.
Who uses his neighbor's
Service.
service without wages. Who did that?
White people did.
White people did. So there's going to be judgment for that. Understand that. There's going to be judgment for that. So this Bible, Peter, is the true book. As the 12 tribes of Israel, our mission, our goal is to raise up men and women of the nation of Israel. Return to them the truth that they're the Israelites. And order will be restored to this earth once again.
Great. Well, I think that you couldn't get any clearer than that.